Guys, excellent job writing your poems yesterday. I am so proud of you guys. Hopefully, you were able to get something from my example. But yesterday we talked in poetry about repetition and the use of repetition to create a little bit of more of a rhythm and to create a stronger visualization. Today we're going to focus on in poetry, and as a writer, we use our writing and our way of writing with using word choice to create an expressive mood or feelings. Much like outside in the weather, when the weather is rainy and cold and nasty, it puts us in kind of an upset mood or puts us in a gloomy, sad mood. When it's sunny and the weather is warm, it makes us happy. Anytime that I see the sun, I get excited, just for the simple fact that I know that it's a nice day, and just seeing the sunshine makes things just a little bit better than a rainy old nasty day. So, with our focus today in poetry, it's going to be to expressing mood and feelings through our writing. As a poet, your word choice can play a huge role in creating that mood or expressing how you feel. I'm actually going to share two poems today with you that is going to kind of give a sense of some feeling. So the first poem, okay, is it doesn't have a title, it's just called Poem. I loved my friend, he went away from me. There's nothing more to say. The poem ends, soft as it begins. I love my friend. As I read through this, I can sense that there's a strong bond there with this particular person and their friend. But in line 2, it says, he went away from me. So obviously I feel like there's some sadness, some heartbreak there. And it says there's nothing more to say in line 3. So therefore the author says that, it just, that's how it ended. Like, I'm sad about it, but it's over. I can't do anything about it. And then in the last line, the author then says, I loved my friend. Okay, so we know that friend, or the author, had a strong bond with their friend, and that they're still in love with that person as a friend. It's just that they're sad because they're not there. Now, one of my favorite poems that I like to read within the class, and one that I really enjoy because I do feel like I can get you really feeling that sense of emotion and the mood, is The Life of a Cupcake, which we just read not too long ago. They put me in the oven to bake, me a deprived and miserable cake. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble. Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble. They opened the door and I started my life, frosting me with a silver knife. Decorating me with candy jewels, the rest of my batch looked like fools. Lifting me up, she took off my wrapper. Feeling the breeze, I wanted to slap her. Opening her mouth with shiny teeth inside, this was the day that this cupcake had died. So I actually feel a couple different feelings and moods through this. Obviously in the first stanza, they put me in the oven to bake, me a deprived and miserable cake. This particular cupcake is talking about not really growing yet. It's kind of just batter. It hasn't really formed, so you feel sad, or it says miserable. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble. Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble. Knew that he was in trouble because could see what was going on. So kind of feeling a little bit of scaredness. Then opened the door and I started my life, frosting me with a silver knife, decorating me with candy jewels. The rest of the batch looked like fools. Okay, in stanza 2, this particular stanza is talking about starting to feel really good about yourself, starting to, be nice, and you're grown and you're starting to really come into your own element. And then the last one, lifting me up, she took off my wrapper. Feeling the breeze, I wanted to slap her. So now here's a little bit of fear, knowing that what's going to happen is like, yes, I'm probably getting ready to be eaten. Opening her mouth with shiny teeth inside. Here comes the scaredness. And then this was the day that the cupcake had died, that it ended. So I really get into this poem. I feel like you can get a good sense of feelings and mood and expression with this, and that in that poem is one that I feel like expresses those feelings and moods. So today in poetry, our focus is going to be on really trying to write about the mood, how you feel. If you're happy, write a poem about being happy. If you're sad or you're feeling kind of angry, write about that. But we want to get away from using the word choice of I'm happy, or I'm sad, to trying to think about, a word. For example, if I'm feeling sad, I might say I'm feeling kind of blue. I don't know what to do. When the sun is not out, it makes me want to shout. Okay, I don't know, but your focus today on poetry is going to be about trying to express your feelings and emotions. Writing today, continue doing your journal entries, and you're going to write a new poem, but your poem is going to focus on your feelings and emotions. Please get that done today. As we talk about math today, it's going to be talking about inches and centimeters. And it's going to be hard for us to actually do this in video. So if you are able to do this at home and measure an object in inches and then turn around and measure it in centimeters, that would be great. Otherwise, today is going to be more of just a quick going over it, talking about it, a quick discussion, and then lead you on to what you need to do. Application problem. I do not have the application problem written up here today, but the application problem will be found on Google Forms. Okay. It is talking about if I was to measure from my elbow to my hand and it was 15 inches, and then I was measuring from my elbow to my shoulder and it was also 15 inches, how long would my arm be? If I needed to figure out the total length of both arms, how long would both of my arms be? I will type that up in a Google form. But let's talk about inches versus centimeters. When you are measuring in inches and you're looking at your ruler, the ruler goes to 12 inches. If you were to flip that over in the classroom and you look at centimeters, we know that centimeters on the ruler goes to 30. Now let's talk about 12 inches equal a foot. And we talked about how 100 centimeters equal a meter. However, when we measure in inches, inches are a bigger unit of measurement. So if I measure an object that is 1 inch, well, it's going to take a lot more centimeters because centimeters is a smaller unit of measurement, meaning on the ruler, centimeters are closer together, where inches are spread out farther apart. If I have an object that is 8 inches, it is going to take more than 8 centimeters to get that same measurement. Because, again, centimeters are a smaller unit of measurement. Think about this. On a ruler, one whole ruler, a foot, you have 12 inches. But if you flip that over and you look at the ruler on centimeter side, there's 30 centimeters. Guys, that is a whole lot more centimeters than inches. And the reason that is because of the measurement. Inches are a bigger unit of measurement and centimeters are a smaller unit of measurement, a lot smaller. So, if you are able to use a ruler, please measure a few objects at home. A pencil, measure it in inches, turn around and measure it in centimeters. See what the difference is. Measure a marker in inches, turn around and measure it in centimeters. If you got a spoon, take a spoon out of the cabinet or a fork or something, measure that in inches and centimeters. But without being in the classroom, it's going to be difficult for me to actually go over that with you. Now, another thing that we would talk about is measuring in inches versus measuring in a foot, or using a ruler for a complete foot, or measuring in a yardstick. Okay? So we know that 3 feet equal a yard. 1 yardstick is 36 inches. If I was going to measure a pencil, I'm going to measure it in inches based on the ruler. If I was going to measure, let's say I was going to measure our textbook, our reading textbook at school, I would measure it in a foot. I would still use a ruler, but I would say it's going to be closer to a foot. Now, if I was going to measure the bottom of our door frame, the bottom of the door, I'm going to use a yardstick because that is longer than a ruler. So it's just about trying to figure out what appropriate tool that you need to use and when to measure in. And then if I'm asking you to measure in inches and centimeters, which one's going to take more, which one's going to take less. And like I said, the more centimeters are because of a smaller unit of measurement. Again, you can find your application problem on Google Forms. Let's talk about math homework today. Alright, let's talk about math. I know math today was a little bit easier, a lot more of listening to me. I apologize for that. But when we're talking about inches and centimeters and you might not have a ruler at home, I can't help that. So I'm just trying to make it as well known for you as I possibly can. So let's talk about our homework for math. You're going to have an application problem found on Google Forms. Do 15 minutes of iReady Math, and then do 15 minutes of Zern.